So this is chapter 1. I know you haven't read the chapters yet, but that's okay. Because this is just an intro, okay, for chapter 1. So, uses of research method. Why do you have to study research method? Why do you have to take research method class? Nancy, why do you take research method?
So I can get a better understanding of how other researchers have.
Excellent point. Scott, why do you think research method is important?
You can also use it as like a precedent for the future.
Very good, excellent point. Like, let's talk about like clinical research. We do some cancer research or ADHD. We don't have a cure for ADHD, but we might get some good prevention plans based on the research current study. And then we say, okay, for the future, we can prevent this and that. Excellent. Like maybe ADHD will be less prevalent in the future based on the current research. Excellent point. How about you, Richard?
Just figuring out how people do their research, like how they go about finding their
Yeah, exactly, because psychology is about behaviors and mind, right? And the researchers have to kind of study about how our mind works and how our behaviors can be affected by certain things. Excellent, guys, okay? So, we use those research methods, okay, to evaluate research reported in the media. So for instance, when you do internet or when you watch TV news or hear the radio news, you hear some research findings, right? How accurate are they?
with the media.
Yeah,
Not really good.
not very good, right? Because it's not the scientific resources, although they might report based on the scientific study. Like, do you see like the poll says plus minus, margin of errors like 5%. Those are the things that we talk about too, okay? So we use research method to kind of criticize how media reports are accurate or not in terms of the research report too. Also, many occupations require the use of research findings. So for instance, Scott, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's the over-under for media, the plus and minus?
Oh, like plus minus. Let's say the research has been showing that females are, let's say, using more anger in rather than anger out. Okay, then the result is plus minus 5% range. Let's say 67% of females reported that they do anger in instead of anger out, and plus minus 5% meaning minus 5%, so it's 62% to,
The accuracy.
yeah, the accuracy will be within 5% of range. Very good. So we say, actually this is chapter 7, Scott. It's excellent that you brought that up already. Okay? It's because when we do the research, we talk about statistics in the conceptual manner too. But what we do is we cannot really 100% accurate, be accurate about the research findings. So we say 5% of them due to the error, the sampling error, or due to the error. But meaning 95% you're confident about the results are accurate.
And is this based on the topic, or is it like looked at as a whole, as media is probably based on research, right?
Right, media should be reporting based on those scientific studies, and sometimes they might misinterpret those numbers, or sometimes they just reflect the numbers without really understanding the concept. So you're right. So everything reported in the media shouldn't be, like we shouldn't buy it right away. So we should be like questioning, where did they get this information from? Okay, and how did the original study conducted? What kind of research method did they use?
You could say that about books we read too.
Exactly.
The authors, like where they come from, and where's their background.
Yes, excellent point, Scott, because that's what I'll be talking about in chapter 1. Question authority. Excellent point. So save it for me for later, okay? Excellent, Scott. Awesome. So many occupations require the use of research findings. Can you think of any occupations that they use research? Absolutely. Excellent, Richard. Military always uses research findings, right? Excellent. Business, definitely. Yeah, someone is yelling there. I don't know what. Yeah. Business usually like marketing research, absolutely excellent. What else? Medicine, absolutely. They do clinical trials all the time. Insurance companies do the research, do what kind of products they should be, selling for the customers. Old Navy, Gap, they always ask us the customer rating service, and we do that, and then we get 10% off. That's the research, marketing research too, right? Yes, absolutely. So many occupations use research method. Excellent. So health, education, legal, and political. And we need to understand research method because we conduct research. Like you, all of you, will be conducting research when you transfer to four-year college or go to graduate school or even for occupation like workforce, okay? So this is a good class to develop the basic skills and understanding of research method, and then you use it for the real thing, okay? Excellent. So intuition authority, as Scott said earlier, problem biases affect our perceptions and may lead to erroneous conclusions. Everybody is biased, even scientists, right? Or Dr. Phil, for instance. Have you seen his show? He has a PhD in psych, but he's so opinionated and very biased, right? So me too. I teach research method, I teach psych, but I can be biased, right? Based on my own experiences, okay? How do we know if our intuitions are correct or incorrect? Do we use your intuition about something, like buy some stuff or, oh, I think I should go this way for a shortcut. Do you use that? Do you use intuition? I do. Yeah. And are they always accurate?
We'll find out once we follow it.
Right. That's right. We follow it and we find out, right? But unfortunately, scientifically speaking, we cannot basically say intuitions are always accurate. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, right? That's basically it. And also, how do we know if an authority's conclusions are correct or incorrect? We are humans. We're not 100% accurate, right? Okay. Okay, so that's the point, like Scott said earlier. Okay, so we always question authorities too, right? Maybe I can go back to the slide, this one, and then just run it, right? Yeah. So use intuition and authority as guides and ideas of research. So it's definitely okay to use your intuition, and someone else, like someone said something, and you heard it and then said, that sounds like making sense to me, but maybe I have to do more research on that, okay? So as a research idea, anything you hear from the media, like internet, radio, TV, or your friends, your professors, okay, your parents, okay, that's fine. You can use it as a guide or ideas for your research. But when you write like a research proposal or research paper, if you really conduct the research, you have to be scientifically oriented, okay? That's the difference. And also, as I said, question authority. Ask questions, okay? And they might know the right answers, they might not. Like for instance, if my students ask me questions, I usually know the answers because I've been teaching those courses many years. But if I don't, I always say, I'm sorry, but I don't know the answer, but I'll get it for you by the next class, I don't want to lie to my students. I don't want to give any wrong information to my students. So I always say if I'm not familiar with the topic, I just tell them the truth that I'm not familiar with that. Because rather than, giving the wrong information, I should be telling them the truth, right? I don't want to misinform my students anyway. Okay, good. So the scientific method, okay? Psychology as a science. I'm sure all of you took Psych 101, so you know psychology is a science, but it's a young subject compared to philosophy, history, and stuff, okay? So the essence of the scientific method is that all propositions be subjected to an empirical test. Empiricism is the key with research method, okay? We conduct the research and then get the results and then find out what is going on, okay? So empirical test is the key. All right. So empiricism, okay? Practice based on experiment and observation. So when you hit chapter 6, okay, I'm going to send you to do some observational study. So you can observe people at the cafeteria, although it's closed during the summertime, or you can go to the B lounge or D lounge and see what's going on. You might even go to like the mall and then observe people and take notes, okay? And also experiment too. You can conduct a small experiment. Like for instance, how many of you have seen this, TV shows that they do experiment? Like, all the ones like everyone, they're in the elevator, and then one guy, like everybody else is like wearing the hat, and one guy is the innocent person, but everyone else is like Confederate, like actors. And then each time the elevator opens, and then they just start moving towards this side, and then the guy is like, why everyone is facing towards this side? And then the guys start doing that too, to following them. Like, that's like an experiment. And also like vending machine too. Like if I put the coins and then the machine is not working, what do I do, right? I try to put the handle down and get the money back, or trying to shake the machine. That can be an experiment. We can observe how aggressive the people can be, right, with that situation. It's called mundane realism and experimental realism, which we will talk about in chapter 14. Okay. It's called mundane and then experimental realism. It can happen in your own life, like reality, like those experiment, like elevator situation or vending machine. It can happen anytime to you. Okay. Yeah, like reality TV. But we do experiment like that, but it's related to the everyday life situations. Okay. Good. All right. And the doctrine that all knowledge is derived from sense experience. As you took Psych 101, first thing is the sensory information, right? We see, we hear, we smell, we touch, right? Sensory experiences. So basically, we learn from like observation, like conducting the research, but like doing the experiment, so we can observe, we can hear what people say, right? So that's related to sense experience. And babies too, they are very, very young, and they're not sophisticated yet, although they're much smarter than we think. But the basic idea is if I have a key, what the babies do, touch it, try to put it in their mouth, that's sensory information, right? That's a sensory experience. Okay, good, excellent. All right, any questions so far? It's clear, right? Excellent. So we have two components of empirical approach, okay? An idea must be studied under conditions in which it may be either supported or refuted. So when you develop an hypothesis, we try to support our hypothesis, or if it's not, we refute it, okay? The research is done in a way that can be observed, evaluated, and replicated by others, okay? So observation, again, if you want to know how kids can be aggressive under certain circumstances, you might go to the child care center and observe kids on the playground, like 30 minutes, and then you take the notes. That kid pushed the other kids to get the shovel and pail, for instance, right? All right? And evaluated how, let's say like program evaluation. Let's assume that we are conducting the study for the company, and then we say how the program is working for the employees, for the satisfaction for the company, okay? So what we do is we conduct the study and then evaluate the program. Okay, this program is good for those employees with little kids, but they're not good with people who have some elderly people that they have to take care of. For instance, middle-aged employees, they have a duty of taking care of the elderly parents, but the program don't allow those workers to take time off to help those elderly people, but they have a child care center for workers with little kids. So we can evaluate the program like that based on the research, okay? And then replication, meaning we do it again and see if the results are consistent or not, and see maybe something's wrong with the program or something's wrong with the theory, or maybe the methodology doesn't work, although the concept is right. So that's how we find out. Okay, very good, excellent. So we have 4 goals of behavioral science, okay? Description of behavior, prediction of behavior, and finding causes of behavior, and the explanation of behavior, okay? Can you give me some examples of each goal? How about the description of behavior?
Maybe fidgety or anxious.
Sure. Can you be a little bit more specific?
Maybe someone has, I have a fear of standing up in front
Yes.
of people and presenting.
Right.
Maybe my heart rate will increase, my palms will sweat,
Yes.
I'll fumble through words sometimes.
Right. Very good, Scott. That's excellent. That's definitely the description of your behavior. All right. Excellent. How about prediction of behavior? Let's use your example. I like it, Scott. So prediction will be
Prediction would be, see, I don't finish my presentation. And
right.
I run out of the room.
Right. Okay. That's good. I mean, it's not good for you, but that can happen if you have to do it. If you have to do the public speaking, then you predict that I may get not to finish it, and I may have to leave because I get really, really frightened by this situation. Yes, because your pulse will be quick, and then you get sweaty. I had my student actually. She had a very bad stage fright, and then what happened was he had to do the presentation in my class. So. And I didn't want to force him, but he tried. He wanted to try it, so he did. And what happened was he finished it, but he was very out of breath. And then he was so hot and then red. I said, go outside and take a deep breath and come back. And he did. But he finished it. But prediction was maybe he's not going to make it, but he did. So that's very good, okay? How about finding causes of behavior?
Well, if you don't stand in front of people often, then your exposure is limited.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen. You may be fairly unknown.
Right. Very good. Or maybe say, you start thinking, why do I get really nervous when I go to the front of in front of people? Maybe I have a stage fright, or maybe when I was young, I was doing some school play and then someone teased me and I don't like it anymore. So trying to find out why you get so nervous when you have to do the public speaking, right? Awesome. Explanation of behavior is related to finding causes. Basically, you explain why particular behavior is happening, right? So with Scott's example, why am I getting so nervous? when I speak out in front of people. So it's related to finding causes too. All right. All right. Good. Is it clear for you, Nancy? Great. How about you, Richard? Is it clear? Good. Excellent. Okay. So we have basic research and applied research, okay? Basic research addresses fundamental questions about the nature of behavior. So you might talk about self-esteem, aggression, and so forth, okay? Often test theories of behavior. So let's say basic research can be, how does self-esteem theory related to college students' performance, academic performance? Okay, so you might say the less self-esteem they have, then worse college academic performance they do. Make sense to you? Because they don't feel good about themselves. So if they they didn't do a good job with their exam, they might say, that's my fault because I'm not good at doing this. Then they just goes down and down with the grade. On the other hand, if you have a good self-esteem, and you might say, I can do it. It was my first exam, that's why I failed, but I can do it with the second, third, and then as a matter of fact, because they have high self-esteem, they do much better with the second and third exam. Let's say they didn't, pass the course with good grade for not the pass the course, but the first exam, this student just got 62, but then she studied so hard, and then the second exam she got 85, and the final exam she got 93, for instance, right? That's more basic research. Fundamental issues like self-esteem, aggression, and so forth, okay? Oh, I'm gonna use this one actually. All right. So applied research, on the other hand, okay, addresses issues in which there are practical problems and potential solutions. So for instance, how can we prevent some smokers having lung cancer? Stop smoking, although it's very hard for them to stop smoking. Or how can they stop teenagers to drink alcohol? It's more practical, right? Rather than fundamental, like self-esteem, aggression. It's more like, how can we reduce the number of teenagers drinking alcohol? Or how can we prevent people dying from lung cancer with smoking? So it's more practical. It's called applied, okay? So often guided by basic theory and research, though. Because the core problem will be why people cannot stop smoking. Maybe physical addiction, psychological addiction. That goes back to the basic research, more addiction, okay? Because they have low self-esteem, because they have, let's say, it runs in the family like biologically. Those are the fundamental issues, okay? All right, good. All right. Now, this is the exercise time for you guys to do, okay? So, evaluate each of the following statements and decide if it's best considered a statement of fact, an opinion, or an interpretation conclusion, okay? So the first one is, females scored significantly higher than males on every measure. Okay, so Nancy thinks it's a fact, but it's actually opinion. Okay, how about Scott and Richard? Sounds like opinion though, right? But actually it's a fact because the word says scored. Okay. How about number 2? Women are naturally more empathetic than men. It's just part of their nature. Opinion, definitely it's opinion, okay? Number 3, the gender differences found on the affiliation measures are consistent with cultural stereotypes concerning women's valuing of close relationships. We think it's a fact? or is it interpretation conclusion? It is interpretation conclusion because this sentence said the gender difference found on the affiliation measures are consistent with the cultural stereotypes. So it's interpretation of the finding related to the other findings or studies. Okay, the fact, okay? You will see, once you start reading those research articles, you will know exactly what kind of wording we use, okay? So that's the key. Scott, do you have a question?
Yes, is the word measures in that statement a key word?
Found,
Interpretation?
yeah, found and consistent with, yeah. Very good. All right. Number 4, husbands who physically batter their wives are depraved and should be locked up. I agree, bad opinion, okay? Number 5, the correlation between childhood experience and current anger expression supports the notion that childhood experience can have lasting effects. Interpretation conclusion, because of the word supports. Okay, very good. Number 6, extent of observed violence between parents was positively correlated with expression of anger outward. This one, you usually see it in the results section or this discussion section of your research paper or someone's research paper. Correlation part is definitely fact. Okay? Okay. But the suppose, didn't we talk about that already? Did we? Number 5? Oh, we're just doing that, right? Okay. So correlation is a statistical term. So it sounds the fact, definitely. But suppose the notion that childhood experience can have lasting effects, that's more conclusion interpretation. So based on the correlation, the fact, we have this statement saying that supports the notion that childhood experience can have lasting effects. It's a weird noise we have now, huh? All right. So the first part is fact, but after the supports, that's conclusion interpretation. So number 6, extent of observed violence between parents was positively correlated with expression of anger outward. We usually see this kind of sentence in the results section. Was positively correlated with expression of anger outward. Conclusion, interpretation. Okay. Number 7, the finding that jealousy is positively correlated with anger expression in males but not females suggests that males may be more typically socialized to act out their emotions than females are. Which one could it be? Interpretation, excellent. It is because, again, suggest, based on this fact, the finding, they suggest that males may be more typically socialized. The explanation of the findings. So that's interpretation and conclusion. Excellent, guys. Okay, number 8. Jealousy causes more problems in human relations than just about anything else you can think of. Opinion, excellent. All right. Number 9. The correlation between jealousy and overall anger was 0.42, p smaller than 0.01 in males, but 0.13 not significant, ns, in females. How about this one? Definitely fact. It's numbers. Numbers are fact. Excellent, guys. Okay? Number 10. And exactly number 9, you see this type of sentence in the results section of your paper or other people's papers, research papers, okay? Number 10, a two-way ANOVA, analysis of variance. Don't worry about this one yet, okay? Indicated that males scored significantly higher than females. And high esteem participants on the commitment measure, there were no interaction effects. How about this one? Yeah, basically it scored significantly higher than females, right? So it's more like result. It's more like fact. But basically you are interpreting the fact, right? Explaining. But you see the difference. I'm going to show you the other one too, but let's just move on now, okay? Number 11, okay? In this society, females are always the ones who push the guys to make a commitment. Opinion. Okay, good. Number 12. Women who put up with battering from men can't have a very high opinion of themselves. Opinion. Sounds like fact, but it's not, okay? It's opinion. All right. Number 13. The differences between the mean optimism scores of the woman in the college sample, 7.4, and the woman in the community sample, 9.0, was not statistically significant at the 0.05 level. Fact. Very good, because of the numbers. Very good. Number 14, scores on dismissive attachment were negatively correlated with commitment in males, but not females. Interpretation, conclusion. Yep. Interpretation is more like suggest that blah, 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 but it's more like conclusion, right? Okay. Or fact, because scores on dismissive were negatively correlated. I would say fact and conclusion. Interpretation can be more to that. Why negatively correlated? Maybe due to the other fact. Okay, very good. So number 15, the data suggests that attachment style may have a more direct effect on men's decisions about their relationships than on women's. Interpretation, you got it, Nancy? Excellent. Number 16, extrapolating from these data, one may conclude that over 1 million adults a year leave the caps off their toothpaste. Conclusion, right? Because sounds like it's funny, but one may conclude that because of the data they collected. That's actually scientifically, proven, right? Leave the caps off their toothpaste. Excellent. So did you see the differences in terms of those sentences, right? Some of them, like just numbers, are like fact, but some of them can have both, like positively related, but because of that finding suggests that some other, interpretation comes in to explain about certain numbers or certain results, okay?
But what if the numbers are estimated? Would that still be considered fact?
Estimated numbers, so for instance, let's say, the enrollment for Bunker Hill Community College in the fall semester will be up to, let's say, 10,000. That's an estimate, right, of the number. It might be accurate, it might not be accurate, but maybe they make that prediction based on the past numbers, like the tendency of the, numbers of enrollment. So it cannot be the fact yet because not done yet, but it's a more prediction. It might happen because of the previous data. We are predicting that. Okay, very good, Nancy. Good question. Any questions, guys? No? Good. So that was chapter 1, okay? Oh, actually, I have one more. Sorry, one more slide. So we did 17 through 21, and I'm done with chapter 1. Okay, I'm sorry, I had one more. Number 17, the lack of significant differences between the two samples of women may reflect a ceiling effect on the optimism measure or the operation of social desirability. Which one is the opinion, fact, or conclusion interpretation? Which one is that? Conclusion interpretation. Excellent. Because of the word may reflect a ceiling effect. Okay? That's the interpretation of the findings. All right? 18. In this sample, the higher commitment scores of the males, I'm sorry, that's a typo, indicated that they were more likely than their partners to have thought seriously about marriage. Interpretation. Very good. Okay. Because scores indicated, that's explanation, interpretation. Okay. Number 19, women just can't seem to be happy unless they're in a relationship with men. That's the fact. Richard. No, he's kidding, right? Yeah, definitely opinion. Good. I like that. Okay. Number 20, the ANOVA revealed a significant May effect for year in college, with seniors scoring higher than freshmen on worries over the future. The key is revealed a significant May effect. It's conclusion, fact, conclusion. Okay, very good, very good. It's not the interpretation yet, but it's a conclusion based on the data, right? Okay, and if they had very numbers, it can be very fact. Okay. Number 21, the last one. Even though previous literature provides no indication of a statistically significant gender difference on appreciation for psychology, okay, I still believe that females have greater appreciation than males. Opinion, very good, because the first half looks like previous literature. That's the fact, right? Basically, conclusion. But I still believe it's the opinion, right? That's her belief or my belief or his belief, okay? Good. So that was chapter 1.